Hello guys, today we are going to understand one of the most popular book, The Mountain Is You, by Brianna Wiest. Imagine someone sitting in front of you and speaking honestly about life, not in a complicated book language way, but like a real human trying to wake you up. That's what this book feels like. And the main idea of the whole book is simple. The biggest thing holding you back is not your circumstances. It's the version of yourself that is afraid to change. The mountain in the title is not money, people, bad luck, or society. The mountain is you, your fears, your habits, your overthinking, your excuses, your emotional wounds, your comfort zone. The book explains that most people secretly sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They want a better life, but they keep doing things that destroy their own progress. Why? Because deep inside, they are scared. Scared of failure, scared of success, scared of rejection, scared of change, scared of becoming someone new. And the mind always chooses what feels familiar, even if it hurts. That's why people stay in toxic relationships. That's why people procrastinate. That's why people stay lazy even when they hate their life. Because pain that feels familiar feels safer than uncertainty. The author explains that self-sabotage is not because you hate yourself. It's actually because your brain is trying to protect you. For example, someone may want to become successful, but deep inside, they believe successful people get judged, criticized, and hated. So every time they get close to success, they destroy their own progress. Someone may want love, but deep inside, they fear abandonment. So they push good people away before they themselves get hurt. Someone may want discipline, but comfort and distractions help them escape emotional pain, so they keep scrolling, sleeping, wasting time, and avoiding responsibility. The book says, most people are not lazy, they are emotionally trapped. And one of the deepest parts of the book is when it explains that your life will never truly change until your identity changes. You cannot build a new life with an old mindset. That means new habits, new beliefs, new emotional strength, and a new version of yourself. The author says growth feels painful because your old self is dying. That's why change feels uncomfortable. When you start becoming disciplined, your brain fights back. When you start healing, your mind wants old comfort again. When you start improving, your old habits try to pull you backward. The book explains something very powerful. Human beings are not addicted to pain. They are addicted to familiarity. Even if your life is miserable, your mind says, "At least I know this pain." That's why change feels terrifying. The unknown scares people more than suffering. Then the book talks about procrastination, and this part hits hard. The author says, procrastination is not laziness, it's fear. You delay things because you fear failing, fear judgment, fear not being good enough, or fear the pressure that comes after success. So instead of trying, you avoid, you distract yourself, you waste time, and then you call yourself lazy. But the real issue is emotional fear. Then the book talks about perfectionism. And honestly, this part describes so many people perfectly. Perfectionism sounds like wanting excellence. But actually, it's fear hiding behind high standards. You don't start because you want everything perfect. You wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, the perfect idea. And because of that, you never begin. The author says something important. Don't focus on perfection. Focus on progress. Because successful people are not the people who are perfect. They are the people who keep showing up. Again and again, even when they feel tired, even when they feel scared, even when they fail. The book also explains the idea of upper limits. This is powerful. Sometimes when life starts improving, people unconsciously ruin it. Why? Because they are not emotionally comfortable with happiness yet. For example, someone finds real love and suddenly becomes distant. Someone starts making good money and begins reckless spending. Someone gets opportunities, but suddenly loses motivation. Why? Because their mind says, "This feels unfamiliar. Go back to what feels normal." The book says your brain has a comfort zone for happiness. And if your life becomes too good compared to what you're used to, your subconscious tries to bring you back down. That's why healing takes time. You must train yourself to feel safe and peace. Then the book talks about emotional processing. And this section is deep. The author explains that many people never learned how to deal with emotions properly. So instead of processing emotions, they escape them. They overeat, overthink, stay busy, scroll endlessly, sleep too much, avoid difficult conversations, or numb themselves with distractions. But pain ignored is pain stored, and eventually it explodes. That's why some people suddenly break down emotionally after pretending to be fine for years. The book says, healing begins when you stop running away from your emotions. You sit with them, you understand them, you accept them, then you release them. Another huge lesson in the book is about rock bottom. The author explains that sometimes your worst moment becomes your turning point. Sometimes life hurts you so badly that you finally wake up. That moment when you say, I cannot keep living like this. That is the beginning of transformation. Not because pain magically fixes everything, but because pain finally forces honesty. And honesty changes people. The book says real self-love is not pretending everything is okay. Real self-love is being honest enough to admit you are unhappy, your habits are destroying you, your mindset is hurting you, and your life needs to change. That honesty becomes power. Then the author explains something most people never realize. Your habits create your identity. Every small action teaches your brain who you are. If you constantly quit, your brain learns, I'm someone who gives up. If you keep promises to yourself, your brain learns, I'm disciplined. Confidence is not born. It is built, one action at a time. The book also says many people are attached to suffering because suffering gives them identity. Some people use sadness for attention, use struggle as an excuse, or stay broken because healing would require responsibility. That's a hard truth. Healing is scary because once you heal, you can no longer blame your past for your future. Now, responsibility becomes yours, and many people fear responsibility more than pain. Then comes one of the strongest messages in the book, your new life will cost you your old one. That means old habits, old thinking, old friendships, old comfort zones, and sometimes even old identities. Growth requires letting go, and that hurts. But the author says, you are not losing yourself. You are losing the version of yourself that could not carry you into your future. That line is powerful, because many people think transformation means becoming fake, but real transformation means becoming more authentic, more honest, more disciplined, more emotionally mature, more aligned with who you truly are. Toward the end, the book explains that the goal of life is not avoiding problems. It's becoming strong enough to face them, because every challenge teaches something: discipline, patience, emotional control, resilience, wisdom, self-awareness. The mountain is not punishing you. It is training you. And finally, the author ends with the most important idea in the entire book. In the end, it is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. That is the heart of the book. Your life changes when your mindset changes, your habits change, your emotional patterns change, and you stop running from yourself. Because the real battle was never outside. It was always inside you. And once you master yourself, you can change your entire life.